Welcome to Audit Archive, where we run you through some of the most questionable and rather atrocious police encounters. Today, we're looking at a case where a corrupt police officer planted some white substance in an innocent man's car before conducting a bogus drug test, which led to an unlawful arrest. On April 17, 2018, a Florida resident named Steve Van was pulled over by Officer Zachary Wester with the Jackson County Sheriff's Office. Upon initiating the traffic stop, Mr. Van was told by Officer Wester that he pulled him over because his license plates came back with no insurance. But Mr. Van quickly pulled out his current insurance and showed it to Officer Wester, to which the story suddenly changed, and Mr. Van was then accused of drifting over the double yellow line. Somehow, this led to Officer Wester searching through Mr. Van's vehicle. Clearly, the stop was already rather unusual at that point, but Officer Wester had a lot more up his sleeves. Be sure to pay attention to the body cam footage we're about to watch.
$25.54. The RO is going to be the driver on 10-6 vehicle search. Come on, man. You ain't had nobody in the vehicle with you?
Huh?
Have you had anybody in the vehicle with you lately?
Yeah, I had a girl named Crystal in there. Why?
Crystal who?
I add more or something like that. I don't know why.
Okay, all right. Honesty's gonna go a long way with me, okay, man?
Yeah.
All right.
Why?
I've got to test this. Have you ever seen this before?
No.
Okay.
No. What is that?
Let's hang out with Deputy Jackson here.
Whoa, man, where'd you get that?
The center console.
There ain't no way, man.
In case you missed it, Officer Wester apparently found a small plastic baggie with traces of white powder in the vehicle's center console. Now, even though Officer Wester was wearing a body camera that was recording everything, we can only see so much of what happened during the car search. In other words, is the body cam footage enough proof to confidently rule out the possibility of Officer Wester planting the baggie himself and then pulling it out as if he had just found it? This may sound like a far-fetched concern, but we raise it for a good reason that you will learn later in this incident. Anyway, upon confronting Mr. Van, Officer Wester stated that, "Honesty is going to go a long way with me." This statement will later prove to be very hypocritical. Mr. Van was evidently confused and startled about what Officer Wester found in his vehicle. He simply didn't believe that the baggie was anywhere around. But hey, Officer Wester has a duty to enforce laws and make sure the criminals are apprehended. So if Mr. Van was honest and actually didn't have any narcotics in the car, a simple drug test on the white substance should clear it all out, right? If it comes back positive, it's an illegal substance. If it comes back negative, Mr. Van can go about his day. Let's see how things played out, and once again, pay close attention to Officer Wester as he conducts the drug test.
All right, look, man. It did field test presumptive positive for methamphetamine. Okay? Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
If I read you your rights, will you talk to me?
I talked to you, man.
Okay.
I'm just saying, man. I ain't just, dude, I'm fucking.
We're gonna get there. We're gonna get there, okay?
Some of you might have caught Officer Wester in his act, and if you didn't, let's quickly replay a small portion of the footage. If you heard closely enough, Officer Wester just indicated the color blue to a liquid that was very obviously the color red or burgundy. This is a very important element of this ridiculous incident. For context, Officer Wester had just tested the contents of the baggie using a NARC-2 field test, which is supposed to turn blue for a presumptive positive result for methamphetamines and MDMA. According to the manufacturer, the field test will develop an immediate, within 2 seconds, dark blue color as a positive reaction after breakage and agitation of the third ampule. If the color development is an immediate pink, slowly transforming to lavender, you do not have either methamphetamine or MDMA. So, judging by this, since the field test clearly didn't turn blue, that simply meant that there was no illegal substance in that baggie, which we don't even know where it came from. Despite that, Officer Wester shook the field test for about 10 seconds, checking it several times. Looking right at the small bag of pinkish red liquid, he then says blue and returns to Mr. Van to tell him the substance tested presumptively positive for meth, eventually placing him under arrest.
You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you in court. You have the right to talk to a lawyer for advice before we ask you any questions and have him or her present with you during questioning. If you cannot afford a lawyer, one be appointed for you without cost before any questioning if you so desire. If you decide to answer questions now without a lawyer present, you still have the absolute right to stop answering at any time. You also have the right to stop answering any time until you talk to a lawyer. You understand each of those rights I've explained to you?
Sure.
Today on this traffic stop, have you asked myself or K9 Deputy Jackson to allow you to speak to an attorney? Okay, having these rights in mind, you wish to talk to me now? Okay, okay, all right, man. I explained the reason for my traffic stop, and when we started talking about crossing the line, you explained to me your front end was out of line, right? Walked up, talked to you, started talking about a little bit of overage in the vehicle, and you made the statement, I know you want to search it, okay? What was the reason behind that? And then you said, then you were starting to get out, and you were like, go ahead and search it. Like, what's the reason behind that, man?
Because I got pulled over for it, and that's exactly what the officer did. He come out and said he smelled marijuana. I don't smoke marijuana.
Okay.
Okay. And that just gave him the
Right.
to come in and search. Okay?
All right. So I get into the vehicle. Okay. You saw me work my way around. Same way I search every vehicle. Start on the driver's side, go to the passenger side. Open up the center console. Pulled all of your papers out of the center console. In the bottom in the corner, there was that little clear baggie painted black, or it's already black with creases in it. Okay. In the bottom of it's probably 0.20 of a gram of what appears to be methamphetamine. That's what my field test shows out here on the side of the road. Okay. Whenever I came back and talked to you about it, before reading you your rights, so I can't even put that in my report. I can't use that against you. you made the statement that you had someone in the vehicle with you, okay? Now that your rights have been read, do you want to tell me, I mean, give me some background on who you had, and are they users or anything?
In the past, yes, she's been known to be a user. Okay. I gave her a ride. Wow, man.
Did she go in your center console or anything, man?
I have no idea.
Possible, maybe.
I have no idea.
Now, before I look any deeper, am I gonna find a pipe or a syringe or anything like that, man? Because
no, man, I'm telling you, man, I'm fucking walking around, man.
So the last time you used methamphetamine is before you went to prison, right?
Yes.
You voluntarily told me that you had been to prison for possession of methamphetamine.
Yes.
Okay. You said you served 2 years.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And see, when did you get out?
It's just March.
Okay. So when you got out in March, you've been clean ever since, correct?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Where you live at, man?
White Church Pond Road.
White Church Pond?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Have you been pulled over since you got out of prison?
No.
You haven't been pulled over since you got out of prison? Okay. So you don't know where that suspected methamphetamine came from? Okay. Or why it would be in your center console, man?
I do not know, man. I'm being serious, man. I think my ride.
It was, like I said, man, it was black. I almost missed it. Whenever I opened up the center console, it was just laying flush on the bottom of the console.
You know, I don't know.
You don't know, man?
I don't know, man.
Nothing in your hat or anything like that, man?
No, man. I ain't got nothing on me, man. Oh, wow, man. That's
When's the last time she was in that vehicle with you, bud?
just earlier.
Earlier?
Yes, sir.
You got the cash here, man, just from your odd jobs that you've been doing?
Yes, sir. I sold some more stereo.
By now, we learned that Mr. Van had actually voluntarily allowed Officer Wester and his colleague to search his vehicle. Plus, as ridiculous as it sounds, we now know that one of the officers apparently smelled the odor of marijuana coming out of his vehicle. And Mr. Van knew they would ask him to step out, so he did that himself anyway. But this is where we need to put things into perspective. Officer Wester somehow had 3 totally different reasons to initially detain Mr. Van. First, no insurance, which was disproved. Second, drifting over the double yellow line, which is worth just a quick warning or a minor citation. And last, the odor of marijuana, which could very easily be bogus. This simply hints that Officer Wester wanted to fish for something and potentially frame Mr. Van from the get-go. Speaking of which, the odor of marijuana has been a contentious issue in determining probable cause for searches by law enforcement. It's argued that the result, as you could probably guess, is that law enforcement took full advantage of this, especially when you consider there is no way to truly counter this allegation with an objective fact via reports or video. It's an alleged odor. What this means is that an officer could claim to smell an odor of marijuana even if such isn't the case, and there would be absolutely no way to verify whether it was an accurate reason to serve as probable cause for a vehicle search. It's important to note that the Fourth Amendment to the US Constitution protects individuals from unreasonable searches and seizures. It requires that law enforcement officers have probable cause or a warrant before conducting a search. However, the issue of odor of marijuana complicates this requirement. The good thing is that the courts are slowly catching up to this and making changes. For example, in Minnesota, the Court of Appeals upheld a district court order that said the odor of marijuana alone was not enough to justify the vehicle search.
Okay. There, I mean, you can't think of any other way, man, that would have got in there. I mean, like I said, man, honesty goes a long way, okay?
I'm being honest, man. I really don't know, man.
Like I tell everybody, here, turn around, let me be sure. I treat everybody with the same amount of respect they treat me. All right, you've been nothing but respectful, okay? I couldn't ask for you to be any more respectful, man. I'm just trying to figure out how that stuff got in your car. Turn around and talk to me. Open up your mouth. Lift your tongue up. Okay. You think she had? Mike? You didn't see her use it or anything? Okay. Look, man, you're gonna go to jail today for possession of methamphetamine, okay? It was in your vehicle right there at the center console. All right?
Come on, man. Please.
I don't have much discretion with a felony charge, buddy. I don't have much discretion with that, man.
Dude, man, my mom was going to work. Oh, man, dude, I'm serious, dude. Anything. What you want me to do, man?
Listen, man. I don't have discretion with felonies, okay?
Dude, man, if I know that shit was in there, you think I'd tell you go here and search, man? Come on, man, really?
People still do sometimes, and that's why I was getting around to the fact, did you see the person that was with you? Were they using or shooting up or smoking while they were in the car? Because whenever I ask you that, you kind of put your head down and look away. It makes me kind of think that maybe, yeah.
No, man,
I'm
telling you, man, God.
Okay. All right, man, go ahead and put your hands behind your back for me.
Can I smoke a cigarette, please? Please?
Just hang tight right there. Let me explain something, man. Go and get you a cigarette. The company you keep sometimes makes you turn into a, okay?
I'm telling everybody to stay away from me, too.
Okay. See you later.
As seen in the footage, Officer Wester continued to press Mr. Van into admitting that he knew the meth was in his car, but Mr. Van, breaking into tears at several points, continued to deny knowing where it came from. Once again, he appeared very confused and rather devastated throughout the exchange. It's reported that Van had gotten out of jail 3 weeks earlier and he knew the routine. Here we go again, he thought when Wester then said he smelled the odor of burnt marijuana in Van's car.
I'm going to have to tow your vehicle too. Okay. 2554. Go ahead and show me 1015 and roll a rotation on 1070, please. Listen, buddy, I don't think you're a bad guy. Okay. Sometimes people we hang around though get so screwed up in bad situations, right?
This fact right here, man. I mean, wow, man, you don't know how hard it's been, okay? When I got out, man, my house got broken into, all my stolen. I had nothing, man. I was with everything stolen from me, man.
Where did you live at the time?
That same place.
Same place, man. Whenever you went to prison, was that your first time going? No, see, what's your criminal history look like, man? Pretty lengthy?
Yeah.
How long were you on methamphetamine before you went to prison, man? Years. That'll eat you up, won't it? Tear your damn life apart.
It did. It did. It really did.
This is the perfect example of why it's probably always a good idea to remain silent and refuse to answer any questions when speaking to an officer, regardless of whether you're detained or arrested. Note that you have the right to remain silent. If you wish to exercise that right, say so out loud. The Fifth Amendment guarantees the right against self-incrimination, which includes the right to remain silent when interacting with law enforcement officers. This constitutional protection recognizes that individuals should not be compelled to provide potentially damaging information or evidence against themselves. Anyway, Officer Wester continued gaslighting and manipulating Mr. Van.
You might want to quit letting people in your vehicle. If you're saying that's not yours, you might want to quit letting people in your vehicle. And I can tell you, man, you look me in my eyes whenever you tell me it's not yours, but you look away whenever I ask about the person that was with you.
I don't
Okay.
know, that's what I'm saying. I really don't know.
Right.
I
Throw that cigarette out, man. I'm just going to do it on my computer. I'm going to finish searching and make sure I didn't miss anything.
After placing Mr. Van in handcuffs and securing him in the patrol vehicle, Officer Wester continued rummaging through his vehicle for a couple more minutes. Following this, Mr. Van was charged with possession of methamphetamines and paraphernalia, but state prosecutors later dropped those charges as part of a review of more than 250 cases that Wester was involved with. This was a major breakthrough that exposed Officer Wester's disgusting corruption. In July 2019, the Florida Department of Law Enforcement arrested Wester. In a 30-page affidavit, the FDLE alleged Wester kept unmarked bags of marijuana, methamphetamines, and drug paraphernalia in the trunk of his patrol car, manipulated his body cam footage, planted drugs in people's cars, and falsified arrest reports to railroad innocent people under the color of law. His victims, many of whom had prior records or were working to stay sober, had their lives upended. One man lost custody of his daughter. The prosecutor who first flagged some of Wester's suspicious cases later quit the state attorney's office and filed a whistleblower retaliation complaint against her former employer, saying she was ostracized and ignored after bringing Wester's misconduct to light. Be sure to check out our previous video where we cover another outrageous police encounter.